Hi, hello again, and welcome to the second look. We are Norbert, and on the other side, my friend Martin. Uh,
Hi.
right? We are two passionate hobby photographers on a mission to uncover the stories behind the photos and to learn from the mistakes we've made and we still make. And on this channel, it's not just about pretty pictures, it's about taking a deeper look at what worked and what didn't, and why. And because, let's be honest, yeah, photography is a journey, and getting things wrong is part of the fun. And today we are diving in one of Martin's composition works, and we're not going easy on it. Expect honest critics and an open discussion, and maybe a few laughs along the way, of course. So stick around, share thoughts in the comments, and let's grow together. So, Martin, the stage is yours. Let's see what you brought with you today.
Yep. All right. So as you might have already noticed, I am a fan of birds and animals. I think especially birds, and they are quite hard to capture. And in this case, I brought you an image of a parrot. And since Norbert and I we are living in Central Europe, you wouldn't find a lot of parrots in the wild. So you
Not
would
very
have to
easy.
no. Actually, there are some, I think, somewhere because they escaped and then they adapt. But nevertheless, usually if you don't want to go for the European singvogel, I don't know what that's called in English. So is it singing bird? I don't really know.
Singing birds should work.
Yep. So there are of course plenty of them, but if you want to go for a parrot, you would have to go to a zoo like I did. And in a zoo, you have other different technicalities and problems you have to encounter. For example, there might be some fence you have to tackle. And then there's the distance. Of course, the distance in the wild is also there, but it's more obvious with a fence because you don't want to have the fence in the picture, which I hopefully got around quite good. And then there is also, of course, how the bird is positioned in the image and if it's good or not. And of course, we also always want to have the focus on the eye of the bird. So I brought you several pictures. I brought you 7 pictures of the same bird from the same series. I actually got even more, but I think I brought a representative out cut out from my series so that we have something to discuss about what might have done wrong and what I might have done right. And so let's have a glance over them and then let's go into detail. So the series that I have is just chronological ordered. It's not ordered by good or bad, at least from my perspective. So it's just chronological. And I think the first one is actually quite good. The bird takes quite let me take some here that I can annotate. Maybe then it's more prevalent if I show you here. So I think it's positioned quite good. It's positioned a little bit more than just half of the image, also to the up and to the left. The focus is quite good on the eye. It's looking directly towards the camera. You can see good details on the feathers on the head and the beak. And so I think that makes up quite an interesting image here. And actually followed here, I think this is even, to click on it, I have to, this, because then I can show it a little bit bigger. From these 7, this is my favorite one. Unfortunately, it turned its eye. I think they're doing it also for protective reasons. If they do something like that, then they turn the eye away. I'm not sure about that. So that's the only little bit downside of this image. because I think it went or it yeah it's went quite good. Here's some action from the head, digging into the feathers and doing some, I think, some washing, some cleanup work and ruffling the feathers. So I really like this one a lot. And the only thing is that I think the eye is a little bit turned away, but sharpness is good. And so I'm quite happy with this one. So
So
to
this one, Martin, for me, this gives really emotion and movement. Yeah. So the other one,
the
maybe if
first
we can
one,
go back, please, to the first one. Yeah, just to add one or two comments.
sure.
So as you already said, the eye is super well focused and expressive. Also, the texture of the feathers is very well captured. From my point of view, it's a little bit overexposed. So if you look to the white feathers up, but it's just my personal impression. It's a super
Hmm.
nice picture. Yeah. And of course, you have been in the zoo. You had no influence on the lighting there. Mm.
Yeah, I would have to
Um,
correct this a little bit with software afterwards. You are
yeah,
quite right
maybe it's,
about that one.
yeah, yeah. So this is the only point I have to criticize here.
Hmm.
Maybe the ex- yeah, as said, it's slightly overexposed
We can
from
take
my point
a
of view.
we can take a look here also a little bit on the data.
Yeah.
So the shutter time is reasonable fast. It's 320. And
Mm,
I go for a very low aperture value to get
mm,
rid of the fence
mm,
and the cage stuff around it. And and well, I speed. Usually I don't shoot below 200. Usually I shoot with 400, something like that. And I think, yeah, you are right that it's here, it's overexposed and it could have more contrast to the background. Yeah, that's the limitations if you go to a zoo. You have to
mm,
live with that, what's there.
mm. And then the second one is yeah, I like it a lot. Also the eye. So for me, it looks special.
Ah,
It's
okay.
kind of I don't want to say spooky, but you captured this guy in a very special moment during his cleaning activities.
Yep.
So that, as I
That
said before, so for me, you really captured the emotion at the moment here. Very nice shot. And nothing to claim about exposure or something like that. So for me, that's really a good one.
Yeah, I think the background here works out a little bit better here since it
Mm,
the
mm,
zoo where I've been, this one had a lot of, or this area had a lot of terracotta beige walls, and that's what you actually can see
mm,
here.
yeah.
So that's the backside of this voliere, and so that's working quite nicely. Let's go to one of the next images because I'm really not sure. Whoops, I have to software. I have to go to this one, and this from I this irritates me myself. So I like the sharpness of this image quite a lot, but I
Mhm,
don't like the composition here. It's too few into the image. There, it could
mm,
have gotten more to the left in that sense, and it looks kind of weird. But it also might be just my feeling. On the other hand, the right one here, I think this works much better since it's quite in the middle. It's still looking directly towards the camera, but the head is geared toward its own left side. And so there's more of the bird in the image. So it's not as sharp as the left one, but I from the composition, I like the right one better.
yeah, I partially agree. Yeah, I also like the left one because the eye and the surrounding parts of the eye, it's extremely sharp. And if you want to capture moving animals, I made some bad experiences by myself. I know that's not that easy to get this kind of sharp pictures. What's a little bit scary, uh, yeah, he looks a little bit scary here on this picture.
It just
You know,
looks
I'm more into
really
cats and not into birds, so maybe that's the reason why.
it looks really strange somehow. So I'm not I'm for a lack of a better word, it's somehow but on the other hand, it would be a good image for getting rid of the background. I think in this image it would be quite
Yeah.
easy to just get the bird's head out of the image and wherever you want to pose it or put it in some illustration. I think that's quite easy with this one. And yeah, so I also have some, when you do some, and this one is even a little bit sharper than this one. Yeah, I forgot about this one. So it's even filled better than the left one. The right one's filled,
Is it the same
fills.
camera setting as the left one?
Yeah, pretty much. And I do a lot of quick releases with the so high speed releases with my camera, since you never know when you get the right one, especially if you are limited by some fence cage or whatever obstructive material or whatever obstruction you have. And luckily now in digital age, it's quite easy to do so. Those are 7 images. Imagine this in a 24 exposure film in the old days. So then a third of your film is already gone,
And
or a
knowing that
fourth.
this parrot was behind a fence, yeah, you did a very good job because there's nothing to be recognized from the fence here.
Yeah, well, I'm a little taller. I'm 185 in centimeters, and I had to get on my toes. And I really pressed the camera against the fence or the cage, and therefore I got a very good or quite a good view on the bird. And he also was quite cooperative, right? It can be, and that's also what I want to talk about in these videos. You go there, you see the bird and you get up to the cage and you put out your camera and then it flies away 1 meter to the back, 2 meters to the back, however big the cage is. So then you are done. You have to choose something else. You have to you have to search for another photo objective that you want to capture. So he was quite patient with me as well. He was sitting there on the same spot for maybe 10,
Did you use
15
the
minutes.
autofocus mode here, or was it manual?
I mostly go for some autofocus, but for a selective one, not for
Mhm,
a whole area, but for a selective one. And then I try to move it. I usually work with the joystick. I move it. I set up my image, how I want it, how I want the composition to take place, and then I move with the joystick. I move
mhm.
the autofocus to the area I want, and if I don't forget it, it usually works quite well for me. I'm not so much into this eye tracking auto stuff and this fancy stuff. I'm a little bit old-fashioned, which works quite good for me. So I'm faster with on the back side with the back dial and then tap 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 tap, and I set my focus like that.
Yes,
And of
I
course,
recently tried to capture. It was a frog in a zoo. He was also behind the fence, but I could not make it to make the camera. I used autofocus, and the camera always focused on the fence and not at the animal.
yep, you have really reduced the focus size. and then you have to really shift it and be careful with your seeker, with your where you look at it, and really be focused there as well. So if I'm especially with the Pentax, which is the cheaper one to the Canon, I have to be really specific. I have to really put it where I really want it. And if there is leaves in front, if there is like the cage, well, I helped. The cage was a good distance from the birds, so that helped where it with the aperture, putting it, and then was able to focus on the bird. But if you imagine this one sitting in the tree, and we can do this with another video. I have some recent peacocks that I photographed, and they were in the wild. And if that's on the tree, then you often have a hard time to concentrate on the bird and not get some of the leaves or branches and stuff like that. And so in that sense, the cage was beneficial to me, since the bird was quite distinct behind the cage. I was with the camera totally up to the metal, and I just had to make sure that it's in the depth of field of my aperture. And on the right picture, as you can see, I have several of those where I missed it, right? So this one also has a aperture of 5.6, and so the focus totally missed it. It's somewhere here around the shoulder, and that's not
Yeah,
even
it looks like
really
he
good.
just started moving his head when you
Yeah.
press the button.
So, and on the other hand, the composition would be better since the bird
Yeah.
is really filling the whole image. Also, the right one here, where he starts to screech, to scream, or tell something, and but it was not focused, and so, well, another photo lost in that sense. And what have you? The other ones are those that I'm stuck with, that are the good ones.
Yeah, but that's how it is in general. Not every composition and every shot will be successful.
Yep.
And that's for me, that's also one thing that I like during photographs, because you are learning with every single shot, and
Which
especially when you're trying to go to manual mode. This is what I trying currently to get rid of this automated programs, and with everything single shot you can learn.
I got back to manual mode. I do manual almost only anymore, because you can. So, well, I usually have cameras like Canon and Pentax, and I'm sure there are several others, and there are others they don't. I I use my index finger and my thumb to control stuff. Only those two.
Mm,
So, and usually for Canon is like the speed is on the index finger dial, and aperture and focus is on my thumb. And I have some presets like the ISO and the focus, but besides that, I do only manual anymore. Which one of the images do you like best? So
Uh,
those, of course, they are not in the voting mechanism, so it's only, I
so
think, the
my favorite one is the just go back one. No, stop. Too fast.
well,
This, yeah, my favorite one is the one on the right side.
this one.
This one,
Okay.
yeah. Mm.
I think my favorite
This
one
really,
is
this, for me,
one.
this has really character.
Yeah, so this one. So I think
Yeah.
my favorite is this one, together with the one with
Mm.
the ruffled feathers.
Mm.
I think those are
Oh,
my
super nice.
um yeah, that's about it. What else can we find about those images? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think we are
I think the message
through.
is from time to time you have to be patient, and wait for the right moment, and in your case here, to know how to deal with the fence when
Yeah, also
animals are.
again,
That
photographer
was the
by
lesson. That was my today's lesson, yeah, because I really have some issues from time to time. That's yeah, I'm capturing the fence then and not the animal.
yeah, and usually, so maybe that's another takeaway. So I have been to other zoos. Wow, that's unusual for German speaker. Where they keep birds within a huge cage. So in French, a huge voliere. Like in Spain, there is on the Canary Islands, there is nature parks, and they have a lot of birds, and they just have a huge net on 30, 40 meters high in the air, and all of the birds is, so to speak, in a huge area where they can relatively have a huge area where they can fly around. Of course, they are still caged in a certain sense, but it's not a cage per se. And if you have the chance to go to such a zoo, you of course you don't have the issue for metal cages, and you might have a better chance to pick up birds and stuff like that. And again, like we talked in the last video, you have to bring a lot of patience.
Yeah,
And with this bird, I think I was 15 minutes alone with this bird. And I have several from this zoo that are similar. And I also have some that are higher in the air where I couldn't get rid of the cage. And I tried to somehow incorporate the cage into the image to show, well, that's a caged bird and he might not be happy about it. And but for this photo, and we come back to the topic of the last video, photographer by chance. So he was really sitting quite close, and I think the distance from the cage to it was maybe 20, 30 centimeters, something like
mm,
that. Was really very, very close. And I was on my toes and I was on eyesight height almost. So that was also lucky on the other hand to get some reasonable good images. And
and
as
I
I
also have the
said,
impression that this guy, yeah, had no issues with or has no issues with photographers. He's used to them and
yeah,
not being scared to see cameras and hear the noise.
yeah, of course. And there's a lot of people walking by, and so I had quite some good time having done photos with it.
You really, Martin, it's really time that you will come to my region here in the close to the lake. We have a lot of birds coming here. So we have what is Zugvögel? It's migratory birds, I guess. Is the
Yeah,
English word.
I think so.
And
Yes. Mhm.
we have a lot of birds coming from Africa, storks and all these nice guys. And I think I'm motivated tomorrow morning to wake up early, heading for a sunrise and trying to capture some seagulls and this stuff as well. So
Yeah.
I will let you
Okay.
know. I will
Yeah.
let you know tomorrow.
Yeah, I would love that to visit you again. So that let's take a look what summer brings or what late spring brings. And but then we really should take the time. We should pick a spot and then set up with our tripods and get something for lunch or
Yeah, yeah,
some stuff
absolutely,
to eat,
absolutely.
and then just wait it out. So um, I'm quite a comfortable guy. I don't consider myself lazy, but I consider myself low key. What's the English word? And so there's a lot of stuff around going around us that is it's just happening. We just have to keep an open eye and a open camera lens and an open shutter, and then we might have the chance to capture some cool images.
Absolutely. Mm. So we will make a mixture then of planned and accidental photographs.
Yeah, especially that's what one part of photography that I also quite like. But there you really have to have time. And since I'm not doing photography full time, currently I still have another daytime job. I like macro photography,
Hmm.
especially insects and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then you have to be really patient. Then you have to
Oh yeah.
sit for hours and maybe and catch the right butterfly or the right bee or bumblebee or what have you.
This is one thing I can never do, and don't get me wrong, yeah, with my family, because when I'm heading out to make pictures, I'm trying to be alone and take the time to look for the right compositions and so on, and not
Yeah,
running around and uh, getting calls every second minute. Where are you? You're
yeah.
making photographs again, you know.
How dare you
I,
take some
I
time
don't
off
think
and
that's
making
that's only my
images?
issue. So a lot of photographers will have that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's set to this, and maybe you viewers also have ideas what we can or could discuss and talk about. And in the meantime, I think we still bring up such small series and discuss the pros and the cons of what led up to this shot and about the good things and the bad things of the shot. And if you want us to discuss about a specific topic, please let us know in the comments. And if you have photos and photo series on your own, again, I leave a link in the description where you can upload images and ask for a talk or discussion about the images, even here by your own on our talk and on our channel. And yeah, that's in the meantime that. And since I started, I close it down. So please support our channel. And if you like it, please give us a like. And if you have constructive feedback, please leave us a comment. And if you're really into photography as a hobbyist, then maybe hit the bell button to get reminded of future videos. We try to upload a video every week. And I think that's it in the meantime. And we wish you a good time with your photography journeys and hope to see you soon on our channel.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Take care. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.